Thank you. We had a pretty wide-ranging discussion here. I'll just try and give a quick few summary points for it. There seemed to be a good amount of support for the role of the military performing crisis response and humanitarian assistance missions both within their own countries as well as abroad. Had some good examples of both of those from Thailand. There was a real question about the proper role for national and international organizations, and if we're at a point in time where we just need to think about a fundamental shifting of what those types of organizations like NATO should be responsible for and what types of issues they should not be responsible for. There was also a good discussion about water, and particularly that with the pressures of climate change and the other pressures that are coming on water, that it may cease to be to orchestrate peace and may actually be what everybody fears it could be, and that's a source of conflict in the future. There was a good point here about that we need to look at biodiversity security, and instead of counting how many species and how many different ecosystems we're losing, instead focus on what are the base amounts that we need to function as societies and make sure that we have a plan in place to preserve at least that much before we wind up over a threshold that we didn't mean to go over. And and there was a good point here about what IUCN's role, and it's kind of a dual-hatted role. The first is that they should be active, and they are active in policy and environmental law. That's a good proper role for them. And perhaps in cooperation with the military, they could act as an educational and capacity-building organization to help the military with environmental issues.
Especially in non-controversial.
Yes, particularly in non-controversial operations.
We know about that, right? So, I want to thank everyone, and again, just fantastic discussions, and I need to turn it over back to Wouter, who will close the session.
Thanks, Keith, and thanks, reporters, for very, again, inspiring and very pointed reports on the roundtables. Thank you very much for coming and speaking and helping us to prepare the whole thing. And in the end, thank you all participants for coming, and this was great. And we are extremely inspired to continue this and to stay in contact with you and to bring this issue, environmental security, for a peaceful world, to bring this further. Thank you very much. Yes.